Hey, what's up everybody, Elite Drafter back with a new video. Now I want to talk a little bit about some of the techniques that are out there on the internet in terms of your credit process and fixing your personal credit. There's thousands of techniques, right? A lot of people are sharing all these different types of strategies. They're implying that you should use their software. They're implying that you should use a series of templates and literally like thousands of combinations, if not hundreds of combinations to use when it comes to fixing your personal credit. So what do you do, right? What are some of the techniques that you should apply when it comes to fixing your personal credit? I think the first thing, and this is from my personal experience with my customers, is understand if these techniques are applicable to you, right? A lot of these times what happens is, I'm pretty sure you guys heard of the context of frivolous disputes, right? Like, hey, the item you've been disputing it's frivolous, it doesn't work, it's not applicable to your current situation, and blah, 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 whatever the case, right? The reason why items come back and like the letters are considered frivolous is because when you send out those letters, what happens is they're part of a template group, and the template group is categorized by the OCR and the eOSCAR as a series of credit repair templates. And what happens now is because these templates have been used so often, abused and used so many different times, the credit reporting agencies kind of standardize a process where basically they would consider ignoring those type of templates. If not anything, they'll just simply automate the process of dispute and say these items have been verified, and therefore what you're doing is simply not part of a process of repairing your credit. You're not challenging anything that's legitimate, and we call this frivolous. So when that happens is now you're stuck, right? You have to kind of figure out, hey, how do we get out of this situation? Damn it, I'm stuck. I can't move forward because they say it's frivolous. They even said, hey, these items have been verified. You said this was not accurate before, and we checked it, and it's very much accurate, and it's not really anything we can do about that. How do you fix that, right? So the first step is make sure that whatever you're doing, you analyze whether it's the right fit for you, or you have to make sure that it's the right fit for you. How do you know if it's the right fit for you? Well, simple. Have you already tried some of these things in the past and it just didn't work? Maybe that's time to try a different approach. Perhaps you've been swayed and persuaded, right, by these videos out there that are telling you, hey, it's gonna work, you just have to have patience, keep trying. And chances are you probably will have success if you keep trying 100 different times. But the problem there is it's not very clear as to why you want to keep trying the same damn thing over and over again when you're not getting the outcome in the first place. So what do you do? What do you do about these type of situations? And I very specifically told you to make sure that you analyze whether it's the right fit. So how do you determine if it's the right fit or not? Which is our next biggest challenge, right? How do you determine if this information being shared there, or these templates, if they're accurate, whether or not they correspond to your situation? And the best way to do that is really to understand, hey, what I'm looking at right now, I've already tried in the past, and because I've tried it in the past, they didn't really yield the results and outcomes that I'm looking for. And in those circumstances, maybe it's not the right thing for me to reapply these same techniques because it's not really giving me any different type of outcomes. I'm not really getting the best out of this. So therefore, what I should definitely do is try a different approach, right? So how much do you wait? Like, how much time do you wait to see whether or not that template was actually useful, or whether or not it was just a fluke and they just verified by accident? And I think the biggest thing you need to know about that is that, look, you don't wait if it didn't work, right? You got to try a legitimate tactic that actually may have the outcome that you're looking for. So that's the first step. The second step to it is really understanding, how to kind of like find the next technique that would probably give you better results. And the way to do that is understand, hey, I talk about the PI minimizer technique, and I'm going to keep regurgitating that same message and repeating it until you guys get it. The PI minimizer technique is one of the most powerful techniques you can use, okay, to start the credit repair journey. And even if you already started with these templates and you were marked as frivolous or verified, it's still an opportunity for you to fix those mistakes. And the way it works is you sent a letter stating that there are certain personal identifiers, which would be names, addresses, phone numbers, employers, previous residences, aliases, spouses, and so on and so forth. Social security numbers, date of births, all these extra personal information that's being submitted to your credit reports are hundreds of reasons as to why they should keep the items in the first place on those reports, especially if they're negative items. PM Minimizer technique ensures that if those items and names and combination of personal information are removed, it helps you create a path of success in a much more enhanced way. And simply put, if you attach those information that the credit bureaus removed in the first place, what happens next is they come back and say, hey, here's the request that you had in terms of removing this personal details. We've removed them as per your request. Now everything else in your credit reports are questionable. Because most of the items that are reported, right, like the personal details, come from creditors. Right? The credit bureaus don't just go out there and try to put together data on you or who you are without any legitimate credit purpose or application purpose. So how did they come in the credit reports in the first place? Right? We have to understand the science behind it. It comes in the credit report in the first place because the creditors have to submit that, right? When you apply for accounts, when you apply for a different variation of combination of different things, the credit bureaus are getting this information from creditors, which means sometimes the information submitted is not 100% accurate. And what I mean by that is, you applied and you put in a middle initial. Sometimes you didn't put a middle initial. It doesn't reflect your complete identity 100%, because sometimes what happens is there may be missing details. But at the end of the day, you have the right to request an update, which is my biggest point here, right? If you request an update and you get success out of that, that means that the rest of the credit report, whatever the items are questionable. Because the legitimacy of the report is the integrity is not 100% compliant to what it needs to be. So your PM Minimizer technique helps you kind of build that foundation. So you can leverage that information and say the next negative items are the ones that I'm challenging. So going back to our topic of what techniques should you use, start with that. The rest, I don't care who you're following, what you're doing, but start with that. Because if you start with that, the rest is easy to do. Now, templates or not, I don't recommend templates for two reasons. Number one, it puts you in a category of question, like, hey, whether or not this is a legitimate dispute or challenge, or whether or not this client just downloaded some stuff on the internet and decided, hey, they can just fix their credit by sending us letters. And unfortunately, that's most of the cases. A lot of people get caught up with that one, okay? But how do you fix that? So like I said, start with PM Minimizer technique, then item anchoring technique, which is basically, so if we have the confirmation for the credit reporting agencies that, hey, the items or the personal information that you challenged is no longer in your reports. What do we do next? Right? What do we do next? The next step is basically, hey, okay, perfect. Thank you for complying and removing this personal information. Here's a series of accounts that I feel are questionable, as I believe they were affiliated with the names that you've just removed. Can you verify whether or not they were 100% certified to be truthful, whether or not they were accurate? How do I confirm that the information that is on my reports now are not affiliated with the names that you've just removed? So you're questioning them. You're not saying it's not mine. You're not saying I'm disputing. You're not saying according to Section 609, you have to send me verified evidence when you know in fact you applied online. Just don't play that game. The biggest thing you can do for yourself is confirm and play the mix and match, right? Which is the PM Minimizer technique and the item anchoring method. When you go from that angle, you get a lot more success. So you structure it in a way that makes complete sense. You gear your efforts towards that, and then whatever method else you want to go ahead and explore, by all means do so. But that's the foundation. So what do you follow out the internet? Well, I just answered your question. Start with the PM Minimizer technique. Now, you don't have to necessarily follow my techniques. I'm not saying I think everybody else is wrong. Everybody else may have success with their different strategies. What I'm saying is that if you want to make it so that it's effortless for you and then it starts in a logical sequence to help you the best possible way, you should definitely consider doing it in the way that I just taught you. PM Minimizer, item anchoring, and then the rest is basically challenging and questioning the integrity of the report, the integrity of the item, were they compliant or not. So all these type of techniques and more, even more advanced stuff, is on my course, The Ultimate Personal Credit Mastery. I'm also going to be teaching people how to do their own sweeps in that course very soon. We're starting a masterclass today. It's going to end on Friday. It's 3 days of the week, so today, Wednesday, and Friday. And people are going to be learning quite a bit of things. But what I wanted to emphasize on this video is basically be careful, with what the techniques you're following. Make sure that whatever you're following is actually something that makes sense for you. Make sure that you're not categorized as a frivolous dispute and the items don't automatically come back verified because of the attempt of copying a certain type of template. So I advocate strongly on analyzing and understanding your reports. Okay, and then the second step I think is very critical for you is to create a process of action. And that action plan should accommodate your current situation instead of jeopardizing your personal credit file. Because with bad credit, you're held back from a lot of opportunities. The worst thing you can do is push it even further, that bad luck, by attempting to do things that don't make sense to your situation because the credit bureau has decided to flag your file for some reason, right? And be careful on attempting to do sweeps over 10 days or 7 days with these ID theft methods. You're going to get in more trouble than not. And a long time ago, I talked about CPNs. People are getting arrested now. And these are not people who are getting arrested for supplying these CPNs. It's the people themselves that are getting arrested for applying with these CPNs. So that's another dangerous game, right? Look, you don't have time to mess around. We only have one life to live. So whatever you do, at least try to do it the right way. So at least when you get the results, you're happy with yourself because it's going to be long term and it's going to stick. A lot of these ID theft sweeps come back. The items come back in a couple of months. Some of the accounts start closing down because they feel like, hey, the premise of your application with us was false because you actually did have negative items, right? So some of these type of things you have to be careful with. So whatever you do, do it the right way. I teach that in my whole course. I go up and beyond on helping you guys succeed. I hope this video was helpful. I hope you understood as to how you should be paying attention to the process that you follow when it comes to fixing your personal credit, because at the end of the day, you got to do it right. So do it right from the first time around. If not, you're stuck in a situation, then attempting to do it in a way that makes logical sequence for you. Make sure you analyze it and make sure that it applies to you on that process. So I hope this video helped. This is Ali Taraftar, your guide and mentor. If you're new to this channel, don't forget to subscribe and turn that bell icon on. Every time there's a new video like this, you'll be first to be notified. With that said, I'll see you guys next time. Bye for now.